A lot of people think bone broth is kind of like this holy grail of nutrition, when in reality, all it might have is small amounts of fat soluble vitamins and some minerals. That being said, it's not a bad way to hydrate yourself. It tastes good, and it's certainly applicable for a lot of culinary things. And I'm going to show you guys kind of a classic French stock recipe that I apply to my bone broth, with a few kind of like paleo things in there, like throwing in some vinegar and using some kombu for some umami flavor. Okay, so I roasted some marrow bones in the oven at the hottest temp, which for me is 550, and we just want some nice brown color. Hopefully your marrow bones have some meat on them. If you want a more flavorful, more like beef driven stock, definitely add some muscle meat to this. So in regards to caramelizing vegetables, it's a lot more work. Like, you have to chop them up smaller, you have to spend time cooking them. I haven't really tested around with the flavor difference too much, but raw vegetables make a delicious stock. So it's not for me. This is for my family, so I'm not really too worried about the flavor, although I might test it out in the future. So here is 1:1:1 ratio of celery to leeks to carrots, and then 2 parts onions. So it's mirepoix is traditionally 2-part onion, 1 part carrot, 1 part celery, and the stock, traditionally stocks also have some leeks in them for some different depth of onion flavor. Okay, something else that's very traditional is thyme, and I don't have fresh thyme, but dry thyme is just as good. We just don't want to really add too much of it. Much more concentrated. And every stock has a bay leaf. I don't really like adding more than one. It can overpower the stock very easily. And one other thing that I always add to my stocks is kombu, and this is seen traditionally in making dashi. It adds like an iodine umami flavor that for me makes a huge difference in my stock. So this is a bit full, but once we cover this with water and it boils for a few hours, the size of the vegetables is going to be greatly reduced. So I'm using reverse osmosis water from my tap, and I'm also going to add some vinegar to kind of break down the bones. This I have a red wine vinegar from Napa Valley Naturals. This is very fragrant, very flavorful. I probably shouldn't be using this in this, but I don't really have another use for it. So just a bit of red wine vinegar in there. And you could use red wine vinegar, you could use apple cider vinegar. I find that like something like apple cider vinegar, I think I associate more with pork and like chicken, and whereas red wine vinegar goes good with red meat like marrow bones. So now I'm going to put this on a heat where I'm going to bring it to a very low simmer, and I want to keep it on a low simmer, and this is probably going to go for about 24 hours. I'm going to keep adding water to it and reducing it. The main difference between this and a beef stock is the beef stock, you would caramelize the meat in the pan and then deglaze it with red wine, whereas this one, we're just roasting the bones in the oven and adding vinegar instead. I guess those are the two main notes. That this will be like a lot richer. It will have less beefy flavor. It'll have like a balance of acid from the vinegar, but it won't have like a deep, rich, beefy flavor. So this is kind of where you want the stock to be. It's like, it's definitely bubbling, but it's pretty much as low of a simmer as possible. I'm going to keep it like this for, I don't know, maybe 10-12 hours till tonight. And by then the water level should have gone down a bit. We'll add some more water and put it back on the stove. Alright, so the liquid has reduced by about half. You know, the size of the vegetables has greatly reduced, as you could guys see. Like, I had water and vegetables in this and I couldn't even, it seemed like the pot was almost too small. But I'm going to fill this back up to the top of water, and we're just going to let it go overnight. It's been 10 hours roughly. Alright, I filled it back up to the top. So in the morning, this should definitely be done. And yeah, broth has gone for, you know, about 20 hours total. We added more water once. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it off the heat. I'm going to add maybe like 2 cups of water to help it cool off quicker, and then we'll taste it. Right, I forgot we do have to strain this. So as you can see, super dark brown stock. I might have to add a little salt to this to taste it because it's not seasoned, but maybe it'll be fine with the seaweed. Definitely needs a little salt, but it is way too hot to eat. So again guys, the point of bone broth is mainly for a possible small amount of minerals and just something tasty you could have. This is just like a really flavorful vegetable broth. You know, the amount of bones I put in there with the amount of meat, I don't really taste them, it just adds a little bit of a richness to it.